Live from the Grenadian capital, this is the GBN television news. GBN, covering you from the Grenadine Island chain to Brooklyn, New York, via the World Wide Web on www.gbn.gd.
The news headlines is brought to you compliments GUT Credit Union.
I'm reaching my dreams with GUT. They're the ones for me. I'm reaching my dreams with GUT. They're the ones for me. Since 1983, they've been serving the country, and we like all their financing, giving the people what they want, what they need, what they love. Come and join the family that's here for you all the way, from birth to graduation, your first job to your home, and your card through your golden years.
The GT Credit Union has been actively supporting nation building through its many sponsorships and programs, including financial literacy quiz, Pass the Torch Calypso program, junior cooperatives in secondary schools, CPEA, and the TAMCC grants. The credit union has helped many people make their dreams come true. Let them help you with yours. You don't have to be a teacher to be a member. So what are you waiting for?
GUT Credit Union, it's where you belong.
This is the GBN television news for today, Monday, June 29th, 2020. I'm Beverly Telesford.
And I'm Odette Campbell. Coming up in the news this evening, police laid charges on family accused of wounding construction worker.
Protesters marched through residential enclave demanding justice for Evan Smith, who was beaten by a white family.
Bar Association president cites the need for a cooling of tensions and due process.
And only chartered flights will be allowed into Grenada for the time being.
Coming up in sports this evening, tributes have been pouring in for super heavyweight boxer Andre the Giant Stewart, who passed away in New York on the weekend.
And then around the globe, drive-through graduations take hold across the globe, including Jamaica.
We'll bring in the details of those and other stories right after this message.
Hi, I'm Francis Urias Peters. I'm a good listener, and K105 has always been a great source of education and entertainment. Now, while the station name may have changed over the years, it has always provided valuable information which enabled me as a playwright to document and to celebrate our history, our behavior, and our achievements. K105 is my choice. It's the national station.
And welcome to the news at 7. It was a tense weekend in Grenada. Social media was set alight as people expressed outrage over the alleged beating of a construction worker by a family at Fort Judy. On Saturday, there was a rapid response by members of the public as there was a call for a peaceful protest in support of contractor Evan Smith. His wife told the media on Friday that he was beaten by a Caucasian family at Fort Judy last Thursday. There was a call to action on Saturday morning.
We want justice when we want it right now. We want justice when we want it right now. We want justice. We want justice.
A rapid response by members of the public for a peaceful protest in support of contractor Evan Smith. His wife told the media on Friday that he was beaten by a Caucasian family in Fort Judy last Thursday. There was a call to action.
Come to change the culture. Grenadian culture is Grenadian culture. They come to live with us. We didn't come here to live with them. And if they don't like it, take your bag and go. Take your bag and go.
But we realise it's not a black-white thing. It's something that's happened that shouldn't have happened. But, you know, we're all here together.
The whole march here has nothing to do with race. I think had such situation happened to a black person who would have committed it and justice was not being served, I think Grenadians would have actually taken a firm stand.
Plans for the protest was announced on Saturday morning. Organizers described the support as overwhelming, considering the time frame within which it was organized. Activists Michelle Sabrina Alexander and Dr. Augustine Pandrew made it clear that the march was non-political.
Just to make it clear, we are not against the police, we are not against any political administration, we are not against anybody. It's unfortunate, it's sad to see that one man was beaten by 4 persons and no justice was served. It begs the question, why do we have watchman justice for the white people and legalistic justice for our own black people? Because if it was the other way around, we know what the situation would have been. We know that that black person would have been behind a cell, and that's all we're asking for. All we're demanding is justice for that family.
You didn't come here today to support any one of us. You came here to support justice. Justice for all. And we have to send a message loud and clear. Hallelujah. All right? That people, regardless of who you are, you need to respect other people. You need to respect Grenadians.
Yes.
And wherever you come from, and us Grenadians, we need to also respect them.
Mr. Smith's wife has led the campaign to ensure that some form of action is taken after she was allegedly told that it was a civil matter which the family needed to handle on their own. The case has garnered regional and international attention. Local media houses have been contacted by journalists and civil rights activists from Guyana, the U.S. and the United Kingdom, seeking information on how they could contact the family and inquire about how they could assist. Christelina John, GBN News.
It was announced today that Donald Kavanagh and Sarah Houghton, the 2 individuals involved in last Thursday's beating of Evan Smith, have been charged. Prior to this, the Royal Grenada Police Force came under fire from members of the general public for their perceived failure to perform their duties fairly. However, on Monday, Acting Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin sought to clarify what transpired.
Completion and return of a medical form is pivotal in determining the extent of harm caused and therefore the type of charge that should be brought against an alleged perpetrator. Therefore, charges could not be laid prior to the receipt of a medical form. It should be noted further that the police authority allows us for detention of persons in suspected criminal activity for up to 48 hours. Thereafter, without sufficient evidence for charges to be laid appropriately, the detained individual will have to be released. Note that 48 hours after the occurrence of this incident, the police was not yet in receipt of the medical form.
Commissioner Martin says the process will continue.
Following the subsequent receipt of the completed medical form and a review of statements and interviews of eyewitnesses, the police has since arrested and charged 2 persons. Sarah Houghton and Donald Kavanagh have been arrested for causing harm. They have since been released, however, on bail in a sum of $10,000 with 1 surety. This offense carries a maximum penalty of $3,000 or imprisonment for 1 year or both. The other traffic-related issues in this matter is still under investigation, and a clear determination has not yet been made.
When asked whether charges were brought against the other 2 young people reportedly involved in the incident, Commissioner Martin explained that information on their involvement came after a statement was given. Investigations are continuing into the matter. Both Kavanagh and Houghton will make their first court appearance on July 28th.
And continuing on with that story, the president of the Grenada Bar Association, Mrs. Lisa Taylor, is urging the public to let good sense prevail as the law takes its course. She is confident that the system will work.
So I am confident. I know I have seen some expressions that suggest that people don't have that confidence. I am confident that the system that we operate under must do its job. I am confident that the policing work, notwithstanding certain statements I have heard credited to the police that, if they are true, seem quite misinformed and not a true statement of the law. But again, I don't have all the facts. But I am confident that based on the outcome of the police investigation, the right charges will follow and the system will work.
Ms. Taylor notes that it's an emotionally charged situation, but she says people need to allow for due process. Ms. Taylor was speaking on GBN's To The Point program on Monday.
The people are entitled to bail like anybody else, regardless of the inflammatory or apparently inflammatory situation which gave rise to this incident, and all of the other sentiments and emotions that are rightly or wrongly roused. But the system has to work, and we have to give it space to work. We have to be confident that the police will do what is right and just under the law. And we also have to be mindful that both the victim, allegedly, and the alleged perpetrator or perpetrators have the benefit of the law, have the protections of the law, and we should make sure. To me, the source of my energy would be, as a concerned Grenadian citizen, to make sure that the system works.
In other news, no commercial flights will be allowed into Grenada in the immediate future. Only chartered flights are being allowed in for now. The announcement came from Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell in a national address last night. Cherian Blackman-Stephen tells us more.
As of Tuesday, June 30th, the curfew is extended from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. until July 7th. However, the country's borders will remain closed to commercial flights.
All protocols may be perceived as rigorous, but they have to be, because public health and safety are at risk. We have tested and evaluated the protocols and identified areas for improvement. Therefore, for the immediate future, Grenada will only continue to welcome chartered flights, and these offer greater levels of due diligence with respect to the established protocols, which include testing before departure, testing upon arrival, and agreement to bear the cost of quarantine. Commercial airlines have thus far not agreed to make it mandatory for passengers to test prior to travel, and this is contrary to Grenada's protocols.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, in his national address delivered on Sunday, cited daily reports of increased rates of infections, particularly in the United States, which is one of Grenada's main source markets for visitors, as largely responsible for government's decision. He said they continue to work on finalization of protocols before the country welcomes commercial flights.
Many are wishing we can remain in the protective bubble that has kept us safe since March, and that we can maintain the COVID-free status announced earlier this month. However, this is not a practical long-term option, as Caribbean countries may not have reached consensus and when we reopen more borders. But given the importance of tourism, this is generally regarded as one of the critical milestones in the effort to restart economies. The timing, however, must be right, and public health remain of paramount importance.
Training sessions have been organized for workers in the accommodation, transport, and food and beverage sectors as Grenada prepare to enter the next phase in this fight against COVID-19.
And thanks, Sherian, for that update. And still to come in the news at 7, vendors at the National Stadium want to return to the St. George's Market. Plans to merge and liberalize the nutmeg and cocoa boards to be laid before Parliament on Beyond the Headlines tonight. That's a parliamentary sitting looking at liberalizing cocoa and nutmeg boards. So stay with us.
Now more than ever, Flow is working hard to keep you connected to the things that matter most. Your family, your work, and your favorite entertainment. We are also providing Flow Study free of charge so students can stay connected and up to date with their schoolwork. And because your safety is our highest priority, you can manage your account from the safety of your own home through the MyFlow app. We are here for you, keeping you connected.
month. Free groceries for 1 year when you shop at the food fair. Up to $8,400 in groceries. Every $50 spent between June 15th and September 30th gives you the opportunity to enter into the grand prize draw for October 9th, 2020. Third prize, free groceries for 3 months. Second prize, free groceries for 6 months. And the grand prize, free groceries every month for 1 year. There will be exciting giveaways monthly. Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. This promotion is sponsored by Food Fair Supermarket, Dutch Lady, Chief, Promo, Danny, and Supreme. Social distancing and hygienic protocols will be maintained at all times.
There's a reason we have been here to serve you for the past 40 years. A reason we have continued to grow. A reason we have continued to celebrate. That reason is you. We have been here to help you plan for your future and here to help you celebrate your achievements. We continue to be here even when the future seems unclear, because one thing is certain: you're the reason we care.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Tropical shipping is fast and reliable, always on time, safe and affordable. Friendly staff here to connect you. Tropical worldwide, you must get you. Shop online and you get it on time. Hassle free to meet your deadline. Consolidate any size, any load with Tropical shipping, so we ship everything. I can't wait to ship with Tropical. I can't wait. No package too big, too small. I cannot wait to ship with Tropical. No package too big, too small. Just ship with Tropical.
Local agents, George F. Huggins and Company, Grenada Limited. A telephone number 440-8787, or visit our website at www.tropical.com. Email us at grenadasales@tropical.com. Tropical Shipping, committed to island life.
Our superheroes are all among us. They don't wear capes nor have superpowers. In fact, they appear to be quite ordinary. They are the ones who provide us with food. They are our farmers, our grocery store workers, our vendors. They are our fishermen. They are the ones who heal us, our doctors and medical practitioners. They are the ones who protect us, our police officers. They are all the other essential workers who make this period bearable. And how can we forget our teachers, dedicated to educating our children no matter the circumstance? To everyone who is doing their part to make sure the wheel keeps turning, Ariza says, thank you.
The Grenada Distillers Limited joins the government and people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique in the fight against COVID-19. Only together we can beat this pandemic. As a corporate citizen, we have temporarily stopped the production of rum, and our focus has been on the production of a sanitizing solution to assist in the fight against this dreadful pandemic. We have commenced free distribution to the senior citizens' homes, children's homes, and other vital organizations around the country, and made this product available to you at supermarkets and pharmacies island-wide. We encourage you to please listen and obey the guidelines issued by our health authority and the Royal Grenada Police Force. Together, and only together, we can beat COVID-19.
GBN leads, the others follow. This segment is brought to you by Republic Bank.
There's a reason we have been here to serve you for the past 40 years. A reason we have continued to grow. A reason we have continued to celebrate. That reason is you. We have been here to help you plan for your future and here to help you celebrate your achievements. We continue to be here even when the future seems unclear, because one thing is certain: you're the reason we care.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
And welcome back. It's time to vend. The St. George's vendor is calling on the government to reopen the vendors market so that they can resume business. Rena Pei has more in this report.
Shalon Paris, a vendor in St. George's, called on GBN this morning to air her concerns on the reopening of the St. George Vendors Market. The market has been closed for the past few months due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Vendors have been temporarily placed in the car park of the stadium to sell their produce. Paris is calling for a meeting with the relevant authority as she thinks they are being treated unfairly.
No, nobody from the ministry or so haven't met with the market vendors. They just closed the market and they wouldn't open it. I mean, Grenville Market open, Gov Market open, Sutter's Market open. What happened to St. George's Market? Where is the minister for tongue and where is the minister for communication and work? What are they doing? I can't see you have vendors sitting in the stadium going through all this torture. When people down in St. George's, there is nowhere they are walking to go up to the stadium to buy anything. I find this is so unfair. And then you have the market just opened, nothing going on in it.
Paris says there is no social distancing protocols at the current location. She told GBN the financial burden is significantly affecting her livelihood.
Normally when I pass around to St. George's, I see about 3 or 4 vendors there during the week just sitting doing nothing. And on a Friday and a Saturday you might have a few vendors, but it don't have no 6 feet social distance. You might see 3, 4 vendors under one tent. So what is the difference going on here? It's affecting me very bad because I need to come and make my money and do my business. I'm a single mother, I could say.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pei reporting.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has announced that Liat workers are among the newest group of employees seeking financial assistance from government. This comes on the heels of an earlier announcement made by Antigua's Prime Minister that the cash-strapped airline will be liquidated. Rena Pei has more in this report.
Over the weekend, Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, announced to the world that from all indication, Liat will be liquidated and the countries within the region may have to come together to form a new entity.
Governments will have to capitalize a new entity. They'll also have to get private sector participation so that we have a mixture of public and private capital, probably to have it operated by private entities. But again, what I'm hoping that we do not have going forward with a new entity is any squabble over the location of the headquarters.
The airline, which has been grounded due to the pandemic, currently has an outstanding payment of nearly 100 million EC dollars to its employees, as they already face a loss of 12 million EC dollars in 2019. This action is likely to result in the loss of hundreds of jobs throughout the region, including Grenada. On Sunday, Prime Minister Keith Mitchell announced to the nation that Liat workers in Grenada have requested support from government's stimulus package.
We are continuously evaluating the categories of persons eligible to benefit and have made some adjustments in recent times. Requests have also been submitted by employees of Liat and several other places who have received little or no income and are facing imminent threat of unemployment. Additionally, as the duration of the pandemic increases, government is now actively considering extending the period of support granted to hotel workers for a further 3 months.
According to the Prime Minister, to date, more than 4,000 Grenadians have benefited either from payroll support to businesses or from income support to self-employed persons. Another 2,000 Grenadians have also started receiving the unemployment assistance benefit from the National Insurance Scheme. He says government continues to assist people at this time despite its challenges.
This in no way suggests that we have helped everyone who needs help. But I can assure you that we continue to work on your behalf. But the reality is that government itself is limited by the significant decline in revenue.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pei reporting.
GBN's Beyond the Headlines takes on the controversy surrounding the proposed merger of the Cocoa and Nutmeg Association. Tonight's panel will include the Ministers of Trade and Agriculture, Oliver Joseph and Yolande Bain Hosford, together with the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Elvis Moraine, Mr. Leo Cato of the Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, Farmer Nalin Joseph, and Mr. Christopher Williams of the Cocoa Board will represent the commodity entities. In a national address last night, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell defended the government's decision to pursue the merger. He says this will give farmers a real chance of a shareholding in the nutmeg and cocoa industry, something he says that does not presently exist. In the past week, several voices were raised in opposition to the deal after draft legislation was leaked to a local newspaper.
In his address Sunday night, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said because of the difficulties brought about by COVID-19, significant financial resources have been made available for various initiatives, including price support payments for cocoa and nutmeg farmers. He said the situation highlights the need for urgent action to address the long-term financial viability of the cocoa and nutmeg associations.
Unfortunately, years of inaction have paralyzed the associations, leading to chronic and acute financial challenges similar to the current situation, which necessitated yet another injection of capital by government to ensure the survival of the associations.
The Prime Minister said the COVID-19 pandemic has illustrated that it cannot be business as usual, as it's a crucial opportunity to modernize the operation of commodity boards.
A successful merger will accomplish this, and most importantly, will allow farmers to be at the forefront. Another long-standing recommendation that government will seek to implement. We expect the merger of the association and the liberalization of the sector to lead to better prices for cocoa and nutmeg farmers, while also allowing them a chance of real ownership and shareholding in the commodity boards, something that does not exist at this time.
During the past week, several voices were raised in opposition to the proposed merger, with some saying the government was seeking to hijack the commodity boards. Former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas has invoked the memory of one of Grenada's most passionate proponents of the agricultural sector, the late Clarence Ferguson.
Reflect on the same thing with the issue with the farmer, that draft bill. I mean, it kind of, I don't know if you knew a man named Clarence Ferguson. Clarence Ferguson was a man who always defended the Nutmeg Association since in the days of Gary. The name sounds familiar. Yeah, that's Robert Ferguson's father. I said Clarence must be turning in his grave when this bill, when he hears about this bill. Because, I mean, it's the people. This belongs to the farmers. And you have to function in a way that is beneficial to people, not to make life difficult for them or exploit them.
He says people often ignore the issue of trusteeship in the governance process. He says parliamentary representatives in rural communities are not serving as trustees of the farming communities.
If a constituency elect you to represent them, then you should let them know what's going on with the business. You can just come in the dark with a draft bill to take away the powers from the farmers, and you sit down in the parliament and say you're representing farmers. Which farmers you're representing? Which constituency? And most of the constituencies are rural constituencies in Grenada. And I haven't heard one parliamentarian speak out or say or lift a finger in the interests of the farmers of the country. Not one. And that is real sad, because I mean, St. Patrick's and Max and John, St. Andrews, these are nutmeg and cocoa producing areas. And these MPs should be fighting to defend the farmers' interests. But we don't know whose interests they're representing now. I mean, that is an issue that people have to be raising. Whose interests are they representing?
GBN further dissects the controversy on tonight's Beyond the Headlines program with representatives from the Government of Grenada and representatives of the commodity boards. Joseph McKee-Smith, GBN News.
We take a break, but still ahead, media workers told to be careful in light of Barbados murder. Stay with us.
It's new, innovative and classy, and it cut above the rest. Your one-stop shop for bathtubs, kitchenette, customized doors and windows, and even a new paint job. We also sell quartz and solid surface countertops. At M&N Hardware, we offer best prices, excellent service, efficiency, and reliability. Visit us at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George, or call telephone number 440-6757. M&N Hardware, from foundation to roof. Let's build together.
Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills and Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills and Valley, your health is our business.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand-name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
This is GBN. We've got the means, the power, and the medium. This segment is brought to you by Flow.
Paying is faster and easier with Flow FastPay. Use your MasterCard or Visa and pay from anywhere. Log on to discoverflow.co/fastpay and press Consumer. Select your country and enter your account number. Enter the amount to be paid and an email address. Enter your credit card information. You'll receive a payment confirmation with the transaction details, along with a receipt to your email address. It's fast, safe, and easy. Flow, keeping you connected.
Welcome back to News at 7. Media workers in Grenada are being told it's time to take stock. Time to take a step back and assess how they let passion get in their way of mindfulness. The advice follows the brutal slaying of a young photojournalist in Barbados last week. Christina John has that story.
25-year-old Griffith was killed by an assailant while reporting on the death of 51-year-old Glenroy James on the grounds of the heavily wooded Bishop's Court, the derelict former residence of the Anglican Church bishop. James was cleaning up the property when he was attacked by a vagrant who reportedly slept in the abandoned building. Griffith had arrived on the scene before the police and was attacked and killed by the homeless man. Anglican Bishop Michael Maxwell explained that the diocese hired A&B Pest Control to remove asbestos from the property. He said it was unfortunate that Griffith and James lost their lives. The Nation photographer subsequently responded to the report of a body at the abandoned building, unaware that the suspect was still at that location. When he arrived at the scene, he was confronted by the man who cornered him and reportedly chopped him about his body. President of the Media Workers Association of Grenada, Sherry-Ann Noel, says this weekend's incident gives reason for a pause.
Comes as a wake-up call for media workers throughout the region and internationally. Oftentimes we get a call and people believe that because this happened that media should be there to bring it to them, not taking into consideration the danger that sometimes lie ahead.
Noel says people often criticize the media without having the knowledge of the perils involved in the news production process.
And I just want to speak to people in general. Most times something happened and you hear the complaints with, oh, how come MTV, how come GBN, how come they didn't get this and they didn't get that? Not thinking at times, maybe it was too dangerous. Sometimes it is good to just hear and tell you, take a clipping and tell you what has happened rather than being at the actual scene to bring you actual images and so of what transpired.
Griffith worked for the Nation newspaper, which is part of the One Caribbean Media or OCM group, which includes the Trinidad Express and CCN TV6 and the Grenada Broadcasting Network. Noel says it's a sad time for media practitioners, but it also serves as a time of stock taking.
I just want to encourage media people to look at that incident in Barbados, reflect on it, check how you go out and cover your stories. We may say this is Grenada, things wouldn't happen, but you never know when something like that just may happen in our neck of the woods. So once again, our sincere condolences to the media fraternity in Barbados, the family of young Griffith, and to all media across the region who are hurting over this at this time. But what I want you to do is to be a bit more vigilant and try your best to be extremely careful when you go out and cover assignments.
25-year-old Christoph Griffith was the son of Police Sergeant Christopher Griffith, who responded to the report not knowing one of the victims was his son. The officer had to be taken from the scene by some of his colleagues. Christina John, GBN News.
Thanks, Christina, for that report. And we're going to Guav, the fishing capital of Grenada. Earlier today in a news conference, we heard the police commissioner appealing to people to just take it easy, because there were some celebrations of sorts yesterday, despite the social distancing protocols. And the script should have read that Fisherman's Birthday went by quietly compared to previous years. At least the major calendar events will not be celebrated at this time of year. As you would know, June 29 is usually celebrated as a feast of St. Peter and St. Paul, St. Peter being the patron saint of the fisher folk, according to the Bible.
The annual Fisherman's Birthday celebrations, held mainly in the fishing Mecca Guav, took a different outlook this year. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, celebrations were scaled down as the usual parade through the streets onto the beach was put on hold. To mark the opening, a church service was held on Monday at the St. Peter's RC Church in Guav. Minister for Fisheries Alvin Dabrio was present at this morning's service. The minister recognized the contributions fisher folk have made toward the economic growth of the industry.
Makes major contribution to our nation in the form of food security, poverty alleviation, employment, foreign exchange, culture, recreation, tourism, and the general quality of life in rural and coastal communities here in Grenada and the world over.
The fisheries minister wants people to become more sensitive of marine life and the environment. He highlighted both positive and negative outcomes due to the shutdown experienced by the industry.
Negative social and economic impacts of the shutdowns have been felt throughout the entire sector, both the domestic and our export sectors. One of the benefits was that our local fish consumption has increased substantially. So even though the export has dropped, our local consumption, and that is excellent for us.
In the Governor General's address delivered by Permanent Secretary Roxy Hutchinson, she urged fishermen to be each other's keeper.
Importance that you adhere to the safety protocols, not only for your sake, but for the sake of your families, neighbors, and co-workers. In doing so, you will do your part to limit the life and presence of this virus and ultimately to help us get through these trying times as a nation.
As part of activities, retired fishermen and women were presented tokens in recognition of their service. This gesture will be extended to fisher folk in other fishing districts. Chrislina John, GBN News.
It's time now for another GBN ISA compliments Clear Vision Eye Center.
A good eye captures all. GBN Eyesore is brought to you by Clear Vision.
You know us, but we knew. You feel at home with every visit. An experienced team offering personalized courtier service and trendy brand name lifestyle products. We're changing the vision care landscape one customer at a time. Clear Vision Eye Center. People and technology coming together to help you see the world with a clearer vision.
Tonight, our ISO reporter submitted video footage of a Guave resident lying on a mattress in the middle of the road at the fishing capital, blocking the Lance Bridge. It is said she was protesting against no fisherman birthday celebrations this year, given today's June 29th, Fisherman's Birthday. Celebrations can't be held due to the restrictions brought about by COVID-19. You can send in your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 and our other social media platforms.
Keeping an eye on the weather, this is GBN. We've got you covered.
Weather for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique valid for tonight and the following 3 days. Weather tonight generally fair, hazy and breezy, becoming partly cloudy at times with few brief showers possible. Tonight's minimum temperature 25.5 degrees Celsius. Winds east-northeasterly to easterly at 8 to 18 miles per hour, becoming variable to calm overnight. Seas slight to moderate, waves 3 to 5 feet in open waters. Tides high at 10:30 p.m. and low at 5:30 a.m. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:47. Weather for Tuesday, June 30th, partly cloudy and windy, with few brief morning showers possible, and some fair spells, increasing in cloudiness overnight, with some widely scattered showers and a possible isolated thunder shower. Weather for Wednesday, July 1st, cloudy to overcast and breezy, with some moderate to heavy scattered showers and isolated thunder showers, improving during the night. And weather for Thursday, July 2nd, generally fair, hazy and windy, becoming partly cloudy at times, with few brief morning showers possible. Stay with us. Sports News is up next.
The Esplanade Mall, something for everyone. Go on a shopping spree today and experience some magic.
Ovio.com. Sale at all the outlets, hotspot outlets. You're going to go to the Carnage, the Grenville, or the Sutter's hotspot, and you get sales and deals on all items. You can get these on potato, you can get these on saltfish, onion, garlic, mackerel, toilet paper, and we even have the currants and the raisin at $10 per pound, lowest price island-wide. So people just come down or go up or go across, but just make sure and go to hotspots.
Communal, we are adapting to meet the changing needs of our shareholders and members. Times are changing, and with the changing times comes a whole new way to do business. Our parents may have done their banking a different way. Communal's state-of-the-art online banking and international debit card allows members to do business with great ease. It's like literally having a branch in your very own hands. Need a loan? Apply online from the comfort of your own home anywhere in the world, and your request will be dealt with remotely. Want to transfer between your accounts or another shareholder? No wait time for transactions to update. Voila! Who needs receipts when you can receive them via e-statements on your mobile device and save the environment? Not a communal member? You can join our family today by applying online. At Communal, we see you working hard to ensure that you save, invest, and grow. Communal, join us today. This will be the best financial decision you have ever made. My name is Hollis Mr. Killamap, and I endorse this message.
The Grenada Distillers Limited joins the government and people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique in the fight against COVID-19. Only together we can beat this pandemic. As a corporate citizen, we have temporarily stopped the production of rum, and our focus has been on the production of a sanitizing solution to assist in the fight against this dreadful pandemic. We have commenced free distribution to the senior citizens' homes, children's homes, and other vital organizations around the country, and made this product available to you at supermarkets and pharmacies island-wide. We encourage you to please listen and obey the guidelines issued by our health authority and the Royal Grenada Police Force. Together, and only together, we can beat COVID-19.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 for 18-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Attention, attention. Spice Gas makes it easy for you. The Spice Gas Retailers Network will deliver the cooking gas directly to your home. The Spice Gas bottles are lighter, cleaner, safer, explosion-proof, rust-free, translucent, allowing you to see how much gas is left in the bottle. Spice Gas bottles comes with guarantee seal. No seal, no deal. Call or WhatsApp Spice Gas now. 415-1446, 423-1446. Email sales@spicegas.net. We deliver. Spice Gas Grenada, cooking safely.
Good evening, sporting fans. We started off on a rather sad note as the news broke on the weekend of the death of former Grenadian super heavyweight boxer Andre the Giant Stewart. The former heavy-handed hitter passed away in New York. Former boxer and Olympian Bernard Wilson cited his death as a significant loss to the boxing fraternity. Only recently, the former champion made a donation of a punching bag and other implements for Grenada's boxing to enhance training after the COVID-19 pandemic would have subsided.
Well, I did not box with Andre as such. When Andre started boxing, I was already out of the sport as far as a participant. Andre had quite a following when he boxed for Grenada, and even after that, he remained a boxing enthusiast, and he was very much involved in the Boxing Association and sending equipment for the boxers. As a matter of fact, there was a competition 2-3 years ago where Andre donated the first prizes to 3 of the competitors, and it was 3 gold chains with golden gloves on them, which they appreciated very much. And he always looked for ways and means of assisting the Boxing Association. I mean, I think even on some occasions he would have even come down just to be part of a boxing competition to take a look at what the guys were doing. So he was very much involved and would be missed significantly. And Andre was a big guy, but a gentle guy. He was a gentle giant.
Stewart had contracted COVID-19 and recovered. In a special message to Grenadian, he urged people to be at their best and try to curb the spread.
Good morning. My name is Andre. I'm a survivor of the coronavirus, and I just want to encourage the people of Greater Carriacou and Petit Martinique to be safe. The coronavirus is something we should take very seriously. We all should do. It's very serious. It's dangerous. All right? My experience with the coronavirus, the first thing, I do not know where did I catch it, how I catch it. That's the scary part of it. So you're going out, wear your mask, wear your gloves, and be careful.
And we at the GBN extend sincere condolences to the family of Andre the Giant Stewart. Family members said he had recovered nicely and he did not die as a result of COVID-19. And it's a tremendous loss from all of the reports we've been getting from New York. So many people were in shock when the news spread about his death on the weekend. And once again, our condolences. And we're moving on now, still with COVID-19 related news. West Indies head coach Phil Simmons will spend 5 days in isolation as a precaution after leaving the secure West Indies facility to attend a funeral last Friday. In keeping with the novel coronavirus COVID-19 protocols for the tour, Simmons will also be tested at the start and the end of the isolation period. If he is returned negative, he will then rejoin the touring party.
A report on Cricinfo stated Simmons left the West Indies unit to attend a funeral and has been self-isolating since. He's expected to watch the squad's second intra-squad warm-up game from his balcony this week. He will rejoin the group once he returns 2 negative COVID-19 tests. A CWI spokesperson also confirmed that Simmons is in self-isolation at his Old Trafford hotel room as a health precaution. It means that assistant coaches Roddy Estwick and Rayon Griffith will take up the Simmons duties ahead of the 4-day first-class fixture that starts on Monday, with Floyd Reefer helping out as batting coach. Meantime, fast bowler Alzari Joseph, who looks set to form part of the 4-man seam attack in the first test along with Kemar Roach, Shannon Gabriel and Jason Holder, believes Simmons' absence will not be a burden on the team.
And West Indies' efforts to get some much-needed time in the middle ahead of the first test against England were thwarted today when rain washed out the entire day's play at Emirates Old Trafford. The 4-day intra-squad contest is the West Indies' last bit of competitive on-field action before the first test starting July 8 at the Aegis Bowl. Players were kept indoors all day while the covers remained on the square for the entire duration. West Indies would hope for improved conditions tomorrow as they fine-tune preparations for the hectic three-match series crammed into 21 days. Chase and Holders men are aiming to maintain their hold on the Wisdom Trophy, which they won in the last series in the Caribbean in early 2019. And we're still staying with West Indies, this time looking at Black Lives Matter. The West Indies will wear a Black Lives Matter emblem on the collars of their shirts during July's Test series against England. The captain hinted in his first press conference of the tour that the Windies would look to support the movement in some way, and said in a statement on Sunday, and I quote, "We believe we have a duty to show solidarity and also to help raise awareness," end of quote. The logo used will be that worn on the shirts of all 20 Premier League football clubs since the sport's restart earlier this month. Designed by Alicia Hossain, whose partner Troy Devney is Watford's captain. Then he was contracted by the CWI for approval, and the ICC gave permission for the emblem to be worn on the team's collars. We'll see how that works out. When we come back, I look at what's happening around the globe. There's some interesting development re the U.S. president. We'll tell you about that. Our probe around the globe, COVID-19, keeping the headlines going. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed how people live, how they do business and socialize, and even attempt classes. Drive-through graduations are also becoming a norm across the globe. Jamaica is following suit. Details in this report from TVJ.
Look at these amazing children! Congratulations!
It's not often that you get to decorate your own car. And no one's getting married. But in 2020, when there is a pandemic and a record-level dust plume blanketing the island, well, anything is possible. It's actually graduation day at the Rainbow Land Nursery and Preschool in St. Andrew.
They have journeyed across the rainbow and they have now reached their pot of gold.
And pandemic or not, these parents and graduates are in for the ride.
I'm happy that at least they will have some closure for this strange period and that they can see their friends, at least a part of their friends.
Graduations in the past have allowed us to allow our children to walk up and have a procession and actually be on the stage so that we can actually hug them and present different things to them for all of them to be together. This graduation is definitely going to be different, but it's going to be amazing. We're going to rock it no matter what.
And they did just that. A celebration like no other, topped off with grand entrances.
The Trinidad and Tobago government has taken a decision to close bars at 8 p.m. nightly, following breaches in social distancing and other COVID-19 guidelines last week. The announcement was made by the National Security Minister, Mr. Stuart Young, at a news conference this morning. Bars will continue to open at 8 a.m. The minister called on bar operators to make last calls at a proper time before 8 o'clock so that they could close by 8. He said police will enforce the law of people gathering outside of bars in large numbers. He said that any further breaches will result in tougher measures. And further afield, Iran has issued an arrest warrant and asked Interpol for help in detaining U.S. President Donald Trump and dozens of others it believes carried out the drone strike that killed a top Iranian general in Baghdad. Tehran prosecutor Ali Asmeh said on Monday that Trump, along with more than 30 others Iran accuses of involvement in the January 3rd attack that killed General Qasem Soleimani face murder and terrorism charges. And he said that they did not identify anyone else sought after other than Trump, but stressed that Iran would continue to pursue his prosecution even after his presidency ends. And moving now to Brazil, groups of protesters in more than 20 countries and in Brazil's main cities have called for the resignation of President Jair Bolsonaro, saying he is a threat to democracy. The protesters called for the International Day of Protest to stop him. They criticize his erratic response to the coronavirus pandemic and what they see as threats against democracy. And that takes us to the end of our probe around the globe. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll remind you of the major headlines in tonight's newscast. Recapping the main points in tonight's news, police laid charges against family accused of wounding construction worker.
Protesters marched through the residential enclave demanding justice for Evan Smith, who was beaten by a white family.
Bar Association president cites the need for cooling of tensions and allowing due process to prevail.
And only chartered flights will be allowed into Grenada for the time being.
And coming up on Beyond the Headlines tonight, the controversial issue of the proposed merger of the Cocoa and Nutmeg Associations.
In sports, tributes for super heavyweight boxer Andre the Giant Stewart, who died in New York on the weekend.
And drive-through graduations taking hold across the globe, including Jamaica.
Now, if you missed any part of this newscast, a repeat of it will be broadcast at 10 o'clock tonight. Continue to follow us online at gbn.gd or on GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel for these and other stories. I'm Beverly Telesford.
And I'm Odette Campbell. We'll see you again at 8:35 for Beyond the Headlines. Do join us.